What is up, guys? Edgy Outdoors coming to you with a new knife video. It's not a new knife, but it's a new knife to us. This is the LionSteel Roundhead Spear Jack, an outstanding knife that we're going to talk about here in a second. Before we get into that, though, we are going to talk about our giveaway. So we apologize for not having been out here making videos in the last month. We've been traveling, we've had babies born in the family, so there's just a lot going on here in Colorado and where we came from in San Diego. So sorry for that, but we are back and ready to start pumping out some more videos. But at 500 subs, we are going to give away we have another one that doesn't have the collector cub number on it. We're giving away a Spyderco Para 3 lightweight. So this is just an example of two. You've got the serrated edges and plain edge, but once we hit 500 subs, don't forget, we're going to do this giveaway, and now that we're doing more videos, we should get there pretty quick. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, or don't give it a thumbs down. But that just also brings up a good question with these. Leave comment below, serrated or not serrated, what do you think performs better? I think I'm gonna do some cutting with these on boxes just to see. Spyderco claims 30% more cutting performance out of a serrated edge, but I want to see if that's true. I tend to think the serrated edges work better when they're dull compared to a dull plain edge, but we're going to play with that as we go through this. So for now, we are going to go through the LionSteel Roundhead Spear Jack. This is a modern folder, if you will. It's kind of in a Barlow style with the titanium bolster, yellow canvas micarta scales. It's a spear point blade, which is where it gets the spear name from, as you can obviously imagine. And then that blade, if you look real close, see if we can get the light on it here, if it'll focus. That is M390 steel. I apologize for the light. We're having weird weather here today, and my lighting is packed up right now. But M390 steel. This knife is made in Italy, and it's Italian M390 steel. They claim that steel is between 59 and 61 on HRC Rockwell scale. So, M390 can go a little bit higher. It might be nice to have it a little bit higher on a knife like this, but I still think if it really were to test in that 60, 61 range, that would be a pretty good steel for a slip joint that you're probably not going to see in some of the other ones. This is what you'd call a modern slip joint. Steel makes it that way. Micarta makes it that way, but it really has a lot of the traditional aspects of it in that it's not locking, it's a slip joint. It has the half stop. It's got a longer pull on it here, not just a nail nick, which is nice. Beautiful swedge on that blade. Just really, really nicely done. So some things that I want to talk about on this guy. So first of all, to go through the specs on it, the blade itself is just under 3 inches. It's 2 15/16 according to the website. The overall length is 6 11/16 inches. So when it's fully opened, and then that closed length is 3 3/4 inches. It does have a half stop on it. So as we look at the spec, as we are going through the specs and understanding more about this knife, it has a very defined half stop, springs into the half stop from both directions. The pull on this guy, I would say, is probably on a scale of 1 to 10, which is how everybody kind of rates these slip joint knives, is somewhere in a 6. Not gonna rip a nail out by any stretch, but it's held in place very well. You don't have to worry about it slipping open. I've had some Gerbers back in the day, when some of the less expensive ones, that felt like they were gonna pop open. The tip is also put away very nicely. You don't have to worry about that tip catching on anything. I've had Gerbers that do that as well. It's just very well put together, traditional style modern knife. That M390 steel is something that definitely makes this more of a modern traditional. There's some pretty interesting things that are done. I've seen some reviews on this from other people, and I know what a lot of people talk about is just kind of that fit and finish, and some of these don't have the fit and finish. Like when you look here, the micarta and the titanium don't come together and make it kind of flush. But if you look really close, I feel like a lot of these attention to detail things that might be in like a GEC knife, because of the style of a traditional knife, they didn't do it here intentionally, as an example. So if you look, the edges are chamfered. So these aren't designed to go from titanium to micarta without being able to see or feel a difference. I feel like this is something that that micarta almost feels like it's designed to be a cushiony, grippy substance, and you're going from a smooth satin finish titanium to this micarta. Both the titanium and the micarta are chamfered, and I feel like that's intentional. Another thing is, we look at the back of the blade, and there's this rounded, if we can kind of see that there's this rounded on the back of the blade. As you go down, it's rounded on the back of the springs as well in the knife. That is something that I also feel is very intentional. So a lot of times, again, you look at a GEC or even some of the case knives, a lot of the attention, the fit and finish revolves around the how smooth it is, how you can't feel the springs and the liners. And this guy, I think the springs, and it goes all the way around. Like, you look at that attention to detail, that's pretty cool. That roundness goes all the way around this blade, or the spring rather. I think it's another thing that's an attention to detail. I look at the swedge is actually done very uniformly. So, and I haven't done a sharpening on this guy yet, but as I look down this blade and I see that swedge, it's very even, very uniform. The bolsters don't have any sharp spots, no corners, nothing. They're just very well done. The titanium inserts. Now you can here, and maybe you could argue that maybe where the titanium liners are, you can feel that little bit of a line between them. But again, these are rounded titanium liners. So I feel that a lot of this is done intentionally, right? And just this micarta, the shape of this blade, the finish on this blade, the swedge and the spear point on this blade, it's a gorgeous blade. It is. I'm so happy I got this knife. And to find a knife like this for 120 bucks, M390, with this type of finish. This knife is actually exclusive. You can only get this spear point, round head from collectorknives.net. So that's the only place you can get this particular model. But I feel like this one was just done very well. Now, you could get other materials in the handle. You can get, other colors, etc. You can also get slightly different styles if you want. So they have another one similar to this, which is a traditional or modern style traditional folder that is called I believe it's called the Best Man. And so, that has titanium caps and titanium bolsters. So, those are also something that are different. And those ones are not exclusive to collectorknives.net. But this one is specific, and I'm going to get one of those Best Man just because I want to see how the fit and finish compares on one that's not an exclusive with one that is, because it'd be interesting to see how they do, how they make changes and if they put an extra special attention to detail on these exclusive knives. Just a really cool thing. There's not a lot that I would really change on this knife. I think the only thing that I noticed that was slightly disappointing was the actual sharpness of the knife when it got here. Compared to some other knives, it's really not as sharp, I think, as even as the proper here. We'll do this as a size comparison in a second, but I'm going to put a nice edge on this. M390, I love sharpening M390. It poses enough of a challenge to make it interesting. Size comparison to a couple other slip joints. We can look at the Benchmade proper compared to the LionSteel. We also have, nice little Spyderco in K390. This is the Spyderco Urban. That's another slip joint. And then a locking knife, just to put all of this into perspective. Everybody knows the paramilitary 2. So quite a, if you compare cutting blade there, obviously the handle in pocket is way smaller on the round nose and the proper, for example. Just super nice in pocket. I also picked up the slip, and I'll tell you, when I have this inside the slip, it is so nice in pocket. Not more of a gentleman type carry, right? But you get that in, you stick that in there. I mean, it almost reminds me of a bug out if you don't use the pocket clip. It is so light, so nice. It disappears in the pocket. It's there when I need it. I'm not going to offend anyone. This slip is a medium, also from knifecollectors.net. You can use it for multiple knives. Multiple of the slip joints. The proper doesn't really fit in the medium. You have to get the large for the proper. It's just a little bit bigger. If we can get that guy out. But you can see there is a closed size difference between the proper and the LionSteel. So pretty substantial difference in size. This one fits in nicely where you can still grab it. And there you go. That is the LionSteel knife that I wanted to do this, the Roundhead Spear Jack from LionSteel, an M390 with micarta handles. Super cool knife. I'm kind of hooked on slip joints right now. As you can see, I've got a few of these. I've got some that my dad used to carry. Slip joints are pretty cool knives. Probably do a GEC one here coming up as well. Stay tuned. We have a lot more videos that we have planned. I think I'm going to do, the next one will probably be sharpening. I'm going to go over just some different sharpening systems here. I think that there's a lot of videos out there. I don't know how modern it is, and I've got opinions just like everyone else does. So I think I'll go over some of those. Not to compete with those like Jeff Jewell or Michael Christie, but to kind of complement what they're saying and stuff like that. So stay tuned for that. And then we have some new Spyderco knives. We have a new one, the Parata, that's everybody's been waiting for, coming. It should be here next week, so we'll have that video up probably next weekend. Pretty excited about that one, to see that big belly come through the door. So again, appreciate it. Hit subscribe and make sure you keep your knives sharp. See ya.